Welcome to the ArtMiabo Podcast, the show where we talk to fine artists, creative minds, and cultural backers from the African continent. I'm your host, Enyadike, and if you enjoy these kinds of conversations, please leave a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel. Now, with me today is a lawyer, an entrepreneur, and a cultural investor whose work spans entertainment, philanthropy, and business. He's the driving force behind the Plugged Music Festival. He is also, I am proud to say, my cousin and the nephew of the founder of ArtMiabo, Miabo Enyadike. Please welcome Barrister Chima Aguma. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Very good. I'm very good, Gift. How are you? How are you, Gift?
I'm great, thanks.
Yes.
So I know I set the table for the audience, but could you please introduce yourself for those who may be unfamiliar with you?
Well, I'm Chima Aguma. I'm from Port Harcourt, the capital city of River State. I'm a lawyer, yes. I'm an entrepreneur, yes. I'm also a politician. I'm very much into a lot of things. Of course, I'm the founder of Plug Festival. Also, a massive investor in art and entertainment and talent. I invest a lot in talent. So that's pretty much who I am. Just somebody who feels the world can be a much better place.
That's incredible. Can you tell us a bit more about your professional journey? How you found yourself in the different spaces that you did.
Okay, so I think everything for me started with my hobbies, my interests. I think growing up as early as maybe 9 or 10, I used to always be around your dad. He's Emeka Enyadike, who is one of the biggest African sports commentators in terms of journalism, proper journalism, in terms of sports marketing, in terms of sports writing. And then he used to have these Van Dyke studios, long time ago.
Yes.
Then he's a lifelong Liverpool fan, a lifelong Manchester United fan. So I used to hang around him. I used to hang around him a lot, and I developed my love for football. And obviously, going into like secondary school, I liked like music, the people liking. We went to secondary school at a time when the trend of young people singing, Whiskey, Davido, all fresh from secondary school and all singing, and went to university at that time as well. So we liked music and then we just like promoting talent, and we appreciated what the creative industry can become. We're like, okay, yeah, this is an industry that can give money. And the thing is, whilst we were in school, we always had this mindset of we never want to be broke, So we just liked this supporting talent. I felt that there was something around it, so And then I that's why I'm linked to a lot of people that have become something like, the likes of Ajabo hustlers in Nigeria today. Those were my friends. Top producer like AZ, the Kiss Daniel song Twe. Those are my friends that we always worked with and invested in. And, but basically it was just more like fun, passion, a hobby. And that's what drove us to do Plugged Festival. We wanted to have a gathering of the entertainment industry in Port Harcourt, and every December just to have a vibe, to catch a vibe, to catch a drink or something. And then for my law background, it's like my father was a lawyer, senior advocate of Nigeria, my mother a lawyer. And so I took interest in that. I went to school for that. I've been a lawyer now for 10 years. And then, of course, politics, the background, my grandfather to my father, to my uncles, to my mom. So all politics. So yeah, my father has been an attorney general. My uncle has been a legislator was on legislature for 8 years. He has also been a commissioner in River State. My mom has been a commissioner maybe 4 or 5 times. Naturally, but these days I think I'm everything you said I am, a lawyer, an entrepreneur, but I think I'm more of a politician these days, even though I still keep focus on all my hobbies.
Thank you so much. Earlier, you talked about Plug Music Festival just being a gathering every December. You've been running this festival since 2017.
Yes.
Which just for context, 2017 was my final year of high school. I was 17 by then, which is why it was like massive news for me.
Yeah.
So it's grown, it's grown into this huge platform for artists in Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
How is the original vision of Plug? How has that evolved, since that? We're getting on nine
Yeah.
years now. So,
Yeah. So basically in 9 years, I think we've done like 5 editions because it's not to put a plugged show together is the toughest thing to do because first of all, financial backing, to have like your big A-list artist because the whole idea of Plug was to put one or two, three, four A-list artists on the same stage with our homegrown talent to give them more exposure, and obviously to give Port Harcourt people what they don't get to see every time. So to even get like the big companies to sponsor it, it's not easy, so but how we've grown is because I'm a never say never person. So I think when I set my mind to something, nothing stops me. I go till the end of it. And take for example, with Plug, the first time we did Plug, it was just me hoping that I would get some sponsors from somewhere. And funny enough, I got a big sponsor that Right Foods Limited. I don't know if they're in South Africa, but it's a drink. They do a drink and called Biggie soft drinks and something like that. So, but they sponsored us and we were able to bring in Kiss Daniel and Flavor that year and pair them with some of the biggest Port Harcourt buzzing artists at that time, to promote them and to, change the face of entertainment, to bring back outdoor concerts, you know. I'm sure Port Harcourt is also home to probably the biggest festival in Africa, the Bole Festival. And
yes.
Bole Festival started a year before Plug, but is literally an offshoot of Plug because the whole team of Bole Festival is still part of the Plug team. Interestingly, people don't know that side of the story. But yeah, so like Plug Festival is
Wow. Well,
it's
now they do.
uh it's metamorphosed into a lot of things, and it's encouraged the ecosystem. If you come to Port Harcourt now, they're like 10, 11 outdoor events in a year, but when we started in 2017, there was nothing that got the buzz and we took that risk, put that money. We lost a lot of money, by the way. We lost a lot of money, but we went again. The next year, we were able to get better sponsorships. I think the River State government then partnered with us and we were able to bring in Davido in 2018. Davido was very hot in 2018, very hot. And that's when we recorded like an attendance of around 10,000 people, which was the aim, which was the goal. And then we had a
It's
lot of
amazing.
Port artists perform in that event. Many of them talk about the 2018 event till today. And then, to be fair, like I said, I struggle. In 2019, I was able to get Access Bank via the late Herbert Wigwe. May his soul rest in peace. Great guy. I showed him my proposal and he was like, I'm not going to read this, but you know what? How much do you want? That was crazy. That was one of the craziest favors I ever got for Plug. And then we did the Joe Boy and Mayor Kunier because that was like within what Access Bank was able to provide for. And they also made the venue look very beautiful. COVID happened in 2020. COVID happened, and
Yeah.
then of course we couldn't. The state government placed a ban on public gatherings of that nature for over a year, and we came back in 2023, which was like that was for me the pinnacle of Plug. That was self-funded, by the way. That was self-funded, 100% self-funded, no sponsors. 2023, there was no sponsor, but that was our biggest budget show ever. We recorded an attendance of over 15,000 people. We had Davido on
It's
stage.
incredible.
That was P Square's last ever performance together. P Square, that's the last performance ever
Wow.
together.
Yeah. Wow.
So we had Charlie Poppy on stage. We had Poco Lee on stage. We had quite a number of people. I can't even remember. Then, of course, we had the Port Harcourt guys doing their thing and becoming bigger. We had Wizard Chan. I think that was Chan's first big show. I don't know if you heard of Wizard Chan. Yeah, that was his first big show.
Not too familiar with that front, but yeah.
Yeah, he's doing good now. I think he's in the top 100 in Nigerian music on iTunes now. If you check him out, I think he's like top 20 now. He has a song that's in the top 20 now. He's that was that's what Plugged is about. That's the idea. It's to create a community of it's just like what Bole Festival has been able to do in the last 10 years. They've never stopped, but because we have varying budgets, the budget of Bole Festival and Vlog, they vary. It's a different thing.
Yes.
The artist, the artist's value is different, but I mean, it's just to create. Yeah, I think the idea of the whole Plugged is to create a community whereby entertainers are able to express themselves to larger audience, and create a community that encourages our local based acts alongside the bigger acts and enable our people to see what they would normally watch on TV. So that was the idea of Plug. Most likely we'll be back again very soon. But we've also launched Plug Live this year. Plug Live is like a live nation. So we do tours for artists. I think we launched with Danny Spry this year, and it was a good outing for him. And we're coming up with a lot of events this year, maybe 9 or 10 events in the second half of the year. So yeah, that's Plug Live. Plug Live is trying to mirror what Live Nation does, which is to create platforms for artists to do their own shows. Done that with Alex Price successfully this year. It was a good show at the EUI Event Center in Port Harcourt, the biggest event center in Port Harcourt now. Plug this December. It's a possibility. It's a very high possibility. I mean, we're working behind the scenes. The thing about us is if we don't get the kind of musician we want because of our profile, we'd rather wait another year to get what we want. It's about, for Plugged Festival, it's about the artist. It's about what we want. We've done Davido twice. We've done Davido twice. And we're looking at artists like Wizkid, Burna Boy now. We're looking at those kind of people. We're looking at the likes of Omale. We haven't done Omale. I think it's one of the biggest exports from Port Harcourt. So we're looking at those kind of people, and if we don't get those kind of people, we always, like, we want to do it right for the people. We want to do it right for our culture. I think everybody looks up to Plug. When people hear our Plug is coming, it's like, who are they bringing this time? Because we are the guys that we bring the people that people want to see at that time, So yeah,
Yes.
we are actually doing something right with that culture. To be honest, I think you're the first person I ever granted an interview to on any on myself. So I think I did this because you're my cousin. I hardly ever speak on what I've been working on, but I'll give you all the exclusive. So
I appreciate it. I do. Absolutely. That's right. You gotta get here first.
So we're working on a lot. A lot. We're working on something that can make it happen for 3 consecutive years at that level again. We're working on that as well, because we're probably next year we'll make it 10 years since we did the first one. So obviously we're gearing up for a lot. And Plugged is it's Port Harcourt people's own. It's not just, I founded it, but it's Port Harcourt people's own. So it's not gonna go down that way.
Yeah. And I actually want to talk, because I think earlier you spoke about basically the culture you created of, these outdoor events that didn't used to exist, or weren't as prominent before. But I think one thing that I also wanted to highlight is, how it's shifted somewhat the economics for performers. The Plug Festival has paid a lot of the artists, above the usual rates that are found in the city of Port Harcourt. Why was that important to you, and what impact have you seen from that decision?
The truth is, for me, this is an upliftment and empowerment program. It's more than that's why I said many of the bigger brands don't really understand what we're trying to do with Plugged. It's uplifting the environment, the community. It's creating employment for our people, giving them better value, trying to revalue their worth. Because, one thing about the media space is all about opportunity. Who plugs what in? Who promotes you? Who signs you up? And we feel like some of the Port Harcourt acts, some of them are really good. They don't just have the opportunity, So when we're doing our shows, we try to make them feel better. It's Christmas. Come on. We don't mind being their Santa Claus. That's the truth. The point is that it's for upliftment, and that's what has made the brand very strong. I think our relationship with our performers, our acts, has made us extremely strong. We have a very strong brand presence and all that. So yeah, that's what encourages us to do so.
And, going back to a more personal note, you've also been one of, if not the most consistent supporters of ArtMiabo and particularly, the International Art Festival. Now, there's obviously the familial connection. As we've said, you and I are cousins. Our mothers, Miabo Enyadike, Chima Aguma, they're both sisters. But beyond that, what drives
Yeah.
your belief in this platform, and why do you think investing in space? You've detailed a lot about creative spaces, but why do you think investing in spaces like that, like the festival, like the brand of Miabo, why does that matter to you?
So when you look at art, you think of legacy, you look at memory, you look at value. So art is very memorable, it's very valuable, and it actually creates is a legacy. Art sometimes is priceless, man. And when you see it, when you see these kind of work put in and you have the opportunity to like be a part of it, support it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's very important to do so because it's very, how will I put it now? It's very rare you come across creative minds, that you can come close to and be a part of their success. So I think for me, my support for ArtMiabo has always been the value to add in the long run.
Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, so the thing is the value it brings, in the long run it's priceless, and then to be part of that art is what makes you remember history. Without because photography is a form of art, you know that, right? So imagine we didn't have
Yes.
imagine we didn't have pictures, and if we didn't have these paintings
Yes.
that told stories, how do we remember yesterday? And I'm somebody that I love history. I love record keeping. I love what art represents. If I'm in close proximity to, I have my auntie as an artist and I have the opportunity and the ability to be part of it and to support it, I'll always do it without thinking.
Okay. So I'd like to conclude with this. Across everything you do, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, business, philanthropy, entertainment, art, there's a strong theme of investing in people. How do you decide where to put your time, energy, and resources? Because you've also stepped into hospitality. That's another sector you've helped in. So just how do you decide? Like I'm looking at what you're doing, and I'm gonna give you all my stuff, all my money, all my time, etc.
Well, I feel like I look at, maybe the first thing I look at is how productive this can be. Not today. I never look at immediate gratification. There's what I do now that will give me money immediately. I like to look at the long run. I like to be an innovator, one of the first people that are part of something that build something from the ground up. But the first thing I look at is the raw material. Does he have, is it productive in nature? Take, for example, you know that crude oil will give you petrol. If refined, they will give you diesel. Even
Yes.
up to the Vaseline we rub is from crude oil. But if I see a talent, I look at it and say, is this talent hardworking? Is this a diamond in the rough? And then I'm like, okay, I can put my money there. I don't necessarily need to sign you, but you see, sometimes when they become big, they become an advantage to me because we use them for the events that we propose, and they're always more readily available than, you know, to us than to other people. So when we spot a diamond in the rough, we always like to support it. And then when we see a market gap, in terms of hospitality with the winery that I founded with my younger brother Izzy, it was just a market gap for a certain nature of alcohol beverage, some type of whiskey that is not readily available in this market, some type of wines that are not readily available in this market. So I saw that there was a market gap. The market was saturated with a certain type of drink. So I decided to do something different. And so far, so good. It's worked. In the food business, I saw that there was a market gap, for a certain type of fast food, and it's working as well. So it's just, with me, it's all about either spotting the talent or seeing a gap in the market. At the end of the day, I put my money there. Yeah.
Chima, thank you so much once again for your time and just for your
Well,
answers. This was an incredible conversation.
thank you.
To you, the viewers, if you enjoyed this conversation, please once again leave a like, leave a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. We will See you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, Gift.